somebody to show some signs of knowing that I have been invited here.
Oh, you're invited? Has nobody come? Oh, dear, dear.
I dreamt that a wild-looking old gentleman came. He looked in at the window. I heard him calling out, "Nurse, there's a young attractive female waiting. Go and see what she wants." Are you the nurse?
Yes, miss, I'm Nurse Guinness. That was old Captain Shotover, Mrs. Hushabye's father. I heard him roaring, but thought it was for something else. I suppose it was Mrs. Hushabye who invited you, miss.
I understood her to do so, but really, I think I'd better go.
Oh, no, nothing such a thing, miss. If Mrs. Hushabye's forgotten all about it, it'll be a pleasant surprise for her to see you, won't it?
It has been a very unpleasant surprise for me to find that nobody expects me.
Oh, you'll get used to it, miss. This house is full of surprises for anyone who doesn't know our ways. I think I might be seeing the captain coming on. Well, miss, I suggest you try and make yourself at home while we're waiting. I've got the drum there, which he loves to drink, and nobody knows that but me. How many bottles? 1, 2, 3. And then, well, we're all sort of ready for him when he does come along. So we'll just sit down there.
Nurse Guinness, do you think a sign he really expects me?
Oh!
Nurse! There's a hold-all and a handbag on the front steps for everybody to fall over. Who the devil left them there?
They are mine, I'm afraid.
Oh, yes, who is this? Misguided and unfortunate young lady?
Miss Hesse invited her, sir.
Had she no friend, no parents to warn her against my daughter's invitations? This is a pretty sort of house, by heaven. A young and attractive lady is invited here. Her luggage is left on the steps for hours, and she herself is deposited in the poop, tired and starving. No room ready, no hot water, no welcoming hostess. Our visitor is to wash in the duck pond and to sleep in the tool shed.
Now it's all right, Captain. I'll make her some tea, and her rum will be ready before she's finished. Now take off your hat and keep yourself at home.
Madam, will you favour me with your name?
My name is Ellie Dunn.
Dunn. I had a boatswain whose name was Dunn. He was originally a pirate in China. He set up as a ship's chandler with stores, which I have every reason to believe he stole from me. No doubt he became rich. Are you his daughter?
No, certainly not. I am proud to be able to say that though my father has not been a successful man, nobody has ever had one word to say against him. I think my father is the best man I've ever known.
It must be greatly changed. I, madam, have 2 daughters. One of them is Hesione Hushabye, who invited you here. I keep this house, she upsets it. I have a second daughter who lives, thank God, in a remote part of the empire with her numbskull of a husband. As a child, she thought the figurehead of my ship, the Dauntless, the most beautiful thing on earth. He resembled it, wooden, yet enterprising. She married him and will never set foot in this house again.
Indeed, you never were more mistaken. She's in England this very moment. You've been told 3 times this week. She's coming home for a year for her health. And very glad you should be to see your own daughter again after all these years.
I'm not glad of it. The natural term of the affection of the human animal for its offspring is 6 years. My daughter Ariadne was born when I was 38. I am now 80. If she comes, I am not at home. If she asks for anything, let her take it. If she wants to speak to me, tell her I'm extremely old and have totally forgotten her.
Now that's no talk to offer to a young lady. Here, Ducky, have some tea and don't listen to him.
Oh, by high heaven, they've given this innocent child Indian tea! The stuff they tan their own leather insides with!
Oh, please, I'm so tired. I should have been glad of anything.
What a thing to do. The poor lamb's ready to drop.
I shall fetch you some, mighty, and do not touch that fly-blown cake. Nobody eats it here except the dogs.
Oh, what a man. They say he sold himself to the devil in Zanzibar, and the older he grows, the more I believed him.
Hermione? Nurse? Papa? Do come somebody taking my luggage.
Gracious, it's Miss Addie, Lady Utterwood, Mrs. Utterboy's sister, the one I told the captain about. Come in, miss, come in.
Oh, is that you, nurse? How are you? You don't look a day older. Where's Hermione? Is she expecting me? Where are the servants? Whose luggage is that on the stairs? Where's Papa? Is everybody asleep? Oh, I do beg your pardon. You must be one of my nieces. Come and kiss your aunt, darling.
I'm only a visitor. It is my luggage on the steps.
I'll get you some fresh tea, Duffy.
Oh, but the old gentleman said he would bring some.
Oh, Lord bless you, he's forgotten what he went for already. His mind wanders from one thing to another.
Papa, I suppose.
Yes, miss.
Don't be silly, nurse. Don't call me miss.
Oh, lovely.
I know what you must feel. This house. This house! I come back to it after 23 years and she's just the same. The same luggage lying on the steps, the servants spoilt and impossible, nobody here to receive anybody, nobody ever hungry because they're always gnawing in bread and butter and munching apples, so there are no regular meals. And what is worse, the same disorder in ideas, in talk, in feeling. I married at 19 to escape from it. My husband is Sir Hastings Utterwood. He has been governor of all the Crown colonies in succession. I have always been mistress of Government House. I have been so happy. I've forgotten people could live like this. I wanted to see my father, my sister, my nieces and nephews, one or two, you know. And I was looking forward to it. And now, the state of the house, the way I am received, the casual impudence of that woman, Gibbs, really, the sign he might have been here. Some preparation might have been made for me. You must excuse my going on like this, but I really am very much hurt and annoyed and disillusioned. I have a great mind to go away without another word.
Nobody expects me either. I thought I ought to go away too, but how can I, Lady Utterwood? My luggage is on the steps and the station fly is gone.
Your tea, young lady. Oh, another lady. I'll fetch another cup.
Papa, don't you know me? I am your daughter.
Nonsense, my daughter's upstairs, asleep.
Oh, don't be so distressed. Have this cup of tea. He's very old and very strange. He has been just like that to me. Oh, I know how he must feel. My own father is all the world to me. I'm sure he didn't mean it.
Now we are complete.
Papa,
Ah,
you can't have forgotten me. I'm Ariadne. I'm little Paddy Padkins, won't you see?
how can you be Ariadne? You're a middle-aged woman. Well preserved, madam, but no longer young.
But think of all the years and years I've been away, Papa. I've had to grow old like other people.
You should grow out of kissing strange men.
Yes, I'm your daughter. You haven't seen me for years.
So much the worse. When our relatives are at home, we have to think of all their good points so it'll be impossible to endure them. When they're away, we console ourselves for their absence by dwelling on their vices. So do not try to ingratiate yourself here by personating Ariadne.
Ingratiating myself, indeed. Very well, Papa.
I'm neglecting my social duties. You remember Dunn? Billy Dunn?
Do you mean that villainous sailor who robbed you?
His daughter.
No, no.
Take that hogwash away! Do you hear?
Oh, you actually remembered about the tea. Oh, miss, he didn't forget you after all. You have made an impression.
Youth, beauty, novelty. They're badly needed in this house.
How are children expected to be youthful in this house? Almost before we could speak, we were filled with notions that might have been all very well for pagan philosophers at 50 were quite unfit for respectable people of any age.
Ah, you're always one for respectability, Miss Addie.
Nurse, will you please remember that I am Lady Utterword, not Miss Addie, nor Lovey, nor Darling, nor Dainty. Do you hear?
Yes, all right, Ducky. I'll tell Martin call you my lady.
What comfort. What sense is there in having servants with no manners?
Lady Utterword, do you think Hesione really expects me?
Don't ask me. You see, I've just arrived, her only sister, after 23 years' absence, and it seems that I am not expected.
What does it matter if the young lady is expected or not? She is welcome. There are rooms, there is food. I'll find a room for her myself.
Oh, please, I don't know what to do, Lady Utterword. Your father persists in believing that my father is some sailor who robbed him.
I should pretend not to notice it. My father is a very clever man, but he always forgot things, and now he's old, of course, he is worse. And I must warn you that it is sometimes very hard to feel quite sure that he really forgets.
Ellie! Oh, my darling, my pettykins! How long have you been here? I've been at home all the time. I was just putting flowers and things in your room when I sat down in the armchair to see how comfy it was and fell asleep. Fancy you're finding no one, being alone and abandoned. My poor love. Oh, you brought someone with you. Do introduce me.
Hesione, is it possible that you don't know me?
Of course your face is quite familiar. Where did we meet?
Didn't Papa tell you I was here? Oh, this really is too much. Papa? Yes, Papa! Our Papa, you unfeeling wretch! I should go straight to her hotel.
Goodness gracious, goodness, you're Addie!
I certainly am Addie, and I don't think I can be so changed that, you would not recognise me if you had any real affection for me.
What a lark! Now sit down. You're so much handsomer than you used to be. You have made the acquaintance of Ellie, of course. She is going to marry a perfect hog of a millionaire for the sake of her father, who is as poor as a church mouse. You will help me stop her.
Oh, please, Hesione.
My darling, the man is coming here today with your father to begin persecuting you. Everyone will see the state of the case in 10 minutes. What's the use of keeping it a secret?
He is not a hog. You don't know how wonderfully good he was and how deeply grateful I am to him.
Her father was a very remarkable man, Addie. His name is Mazzini Dan. Mazzini was a celebrity of some kind who knew Ellie's grandparents, who were both poets like the Brownings. And when her father came into the world, Mazzini said, "Another soldier born for freedom." So they christened him Mazzini, and he's been fighting for freedom in his own quiet way ever since. That's why he's so poor.
I'm proud of his poverty.
Of course you are, darling, so leave him in it and marry someone you love.
Hesione, are you going to kiss me, or are you not?
What do you want to be kissed for?
I don't want to be kissed. I do want you to behave properly and decently. We are sisters. We have been separated for 23 years. You ought to kiss me.
Tomorrow morning, darling, before you put on your makeup, I do hate the smell of powder.
Your room is ready. The sheets were damp, but I've aired them.
What about my sheets?
Take my advice, air them. Or take them off and sleep in blankets. You shall have Ariadne's old room.
Indeed, I shall do nothing of the sort. I am entitled to the best spare room.
She married a numbskull. She told me she would marry anyone to get away from home.
You are pretending not to know me on purpose. I shall leave the house.
At last, Captain Shotover, here is my father.
This? Nonsense. Not a bit like him.
I will not be ignored and be pretended to be somebody else. I'm having out with Papa this instant. Excuse me.
How do you do, Mr. Dunn? How good of you to come. Don't mind Papa. He's mad as a hatter, but quite harmless and incredibly clever. You'll have some fascinating talks with him.
I hope so. There you are, lady dear. I must thank you, Mrs. Hushabye, for your kindness to my daughter. She would have had no holiday at all if you'd not invited her.
It's very good of her to come and attract young people to the house for us.
Oh, Ellie has no interest in young men, Mrs. Hushabye. Her tastes are of the graver, solider sort.
When do you hang up your overcoat, Mr. Dunn? You'll find a cupboard for coats and hats and things in the corner of the hall.
Yes, perhaps I'd better.
The old brute. Who? He, him, it. Grievous solider tastes indeed.
You don't mean you were speaking like that of my father?
Of course you know I won't.
I will leave your house at once.
If you attempt it, I'll tell your father why. If you turn a hair against your own heart or me, I'll give that born soldier of freedom a piece of my mind that will stand him on his selfish old head for a week.
Histine, my father selfish, oh, how little you know. What sort of
Ellie,
things?
dear, Ellie, Mangan is here. I thought you ought to know. Mrs. Hushabye, the strange old gentleman...
Papa, quite.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, of course, his manner confused me. Is getting Malcolm to help him with something in the garden, and I think he wants to do it too.
Bosun ahoy!
Oh dear, I believe he's whistling for me.
Histine, listen to me. You don't understand. Mr. Mangan and my father were boys together.
They were. Look, have to sit down if you're going to go back as far as all that. Tell me all about Mr. Mangan. They call him Boss Mangan, don't they? He is Napoleon of industry and obscenely rich. Why is your father rich?
My poor father should never have been in business. His parents were poets, and they gave him the most noblest ideas. But they could not afford to give him a profession.
Fancy your grandparents, their eyes in fine frenzy rolling. So your poor father had to go into business and didn't make a success of it.
He always said he could succeed if he only had some capital. He fought his way along to keep a roof over our heads and brought us up well, but it was always a struggle. Always the same difficulty of not having capital enough. Oh, I don't know how to describe it to you.
Poor Ellie, I know you were pulling the devil by the tail.
Oh, no, not like that. No. It was at least dignified.
Well, that would make it all the more difficult. I shouldn't pull the devil by the tail with dignity. I should just pull hard. Anyway, go on.
At last it seemed that all our troubles were at an end. Mr. Mangan did an extraordinary noble thing out of pure friendship for my father. He asked him how much capital he wanted, and he gave it to him. He simply made him a present of it.
On condition you married
Oh,
him.
no, this was when I was a child. He hadn't even seen me. It was absolutely disinterested, pure generosity.
Well, I beg the gentleman's pardon. So what became of all the money?
We all got new clothes, and we moved into another house, and I went to another school for 2 years.
Only 2 years.
That was all. For at the end of 2 years, my father was utterly ruined.
How?
I don't know. I never could understand it, but it was dreadful. When we were poor, my father had never been in debt, but when we launched the business out into large scale, he had to incur liabilities, and the business went into liquidation.
Bit off a bit more than he could chew.
Oh, I think you're being a little unfeeling about it.
Oh, darling, I'm sorry. You mustn't mind my way of talking. I used to be quite as sensitive and delicate as you, but I picked up so much slang from the children, I'm really hardly presentable. I suppose your father had no head for business and made a mess of it.
Oh, that just shows how entirely you are mistaken of him. When the company was made bankrupt, it nearly broke my father's heart because he had persuaded several of his friends to put money into the business. He was sure it would succeed, and events proved he was quite right, but I don't know what we should have done but for Mr. Mangan.
What? Boss Mangan came to the rescue again after all his money had been thrown away.
He did indeed, and never uttered a reproach to my father. He bought what was left of the company, started a new business, and made my father a manager in it to save us from starvation.
Quite the romance. So when did the boss develop the tender passion?
Oh, that was years after. Quite lately. He took the chair one night at a sort of people's concert. I was singing there, as an amateur, you know, half a guinea for expenses with 3 songs and 3 encores. He was so pleased with my singing that he asked, might he walk home with me? I'll never forget the look on his face when I brought him home and introduced him to my father, his own manager. And it was then, of course, that my father told me how nobly he had behaved, and it was considered a great chance for me because he is so rich, and I guess we had an understanding, and...
Oh, well, you may have had that understanding, my darling, to get into the engagement, but you all bounce right out of it. I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, no, it's no use, Histine. I am bound in honour and gratitude. I will go through with
You
it.
know, of course, it is neither honourable nor grateful to marry a man you don't love. Do you love this Mangan man?
Yes. At least I...
I don't know at least. I want to know the worst. Girls your age are always falling in love with impossible people, especially old people.
I like Mr. Mangan very much, and I shall always be
Be
grateful
grateful
to
to
him.
him for his kindness to my dear father, yes. You're sure there's no one else?
What do you mean?
You're sure you're not in love with an actor?
What? No! No, of course not.
Well, why else would you be reading Othello?
My father taught me to love Shakespeare.
Oh, your father, he seems to be about the limit.
You never read Shakespeare, Hermione? That seems so extraordinary to me. I like Othello.
Oh, indeed. He was very jealous, wasn't he?
Oh, no, not that part. I think all the part about jealousy is horrible. But don't you think it must have been a wonderful experience for Desdemona? Brought up so quietly at home, only to meet a man who had been out in the world doing all sorts of brave things and having terrible adventures, and yet finding something in her that made him love to sit and talk with her and tell her about them.
Darling, did it ever occur to you some of those stories Othello told Desdemona couldn't possibly have happened?
Oh no, Shakespeare thought they could have happened.
Desdemona thought they could have happened, but they didn't.
What do you look so enigmatic for? You are such a sphinx. I never know what you mean.
Desdemona would have found him out if she had lived. I wonder if that's why he strangled her.
I thought I was not telling lies.
How do you know?
As Shakespeare would have said if he was. Hermione, there are men who have done wonderful things. Men like Othello. Only, of course, white and very handsome and very...
I see. Tell me all about him. I knew there must be somebody else who had never been so miserable about Mango. You just did quite a lot to marry him.
Oh, Hermione, you are dreadful. But I don't want to make a secret of it. Though, of course, I don't tell anyone. Besides, I don't even know him.
You don't know him? What do you mean?
Well, I know him to speak to.
Don't you want to know him much more intimately?
Oh, no. I know him quite almost intimately.
You don't know him, but you know him almost intimately. That's lucid.
I mean, he does not call on us. I met him, by chance, at a concert.
You seem to have rather a gay time at your concert, Sally.
Not at all. We talked to everyone in the green room waiting for our turns. I thought he was one of the artists. He looked so splendid. But he was only one of the committee. I happened to tell him I was copying a picture at the National Gallery. I make a little money that way, and it happened that he came to the National Gallery
On Students' Day. Paid sixpence to stumble about through a crowd of easels when he might have come in the next day, paid nothing, and found the floor clear, quite by accident.
No, on purpose! He liked talking to me. He knows lots of the most splendid people, fashionable women who are all in love with him, but he ran away from them to see me and persuade me to go with him for a drive round Richmond Park in a taxi.
Ooh, you have been going it, Pettykins. Marvellous what you good girls can get up to when no one says a word.
I'm not in society, Hermione. If I didn't make acquaintances in that way, I shouldn't have any at all.
Well, there's no harm if you know how to take care of yourself. Now, may I ask his name?
Marcus Darnley.
Marcus Darnley, what a splendid name.
Oh, I'm glad you think so. I think so too. But I thought it was just a silly fancy of my own. You know, he was found in an antique chest.
In a what?
An antique chest. One summer morning in a rose garden after the night of the most terrible thunderstorms.
What was he doing in an antique chest?
He was a baby. The name Marcus Darnley was embroidered on his little baby clothes and £500 in gold.
Ellie.
The garden of a viscount.
De Rougemont?
No, de la Roche-Jacquelin. A French family. A vicomte. His life has been one long romance. A tiger?
Slain by his own hand.
Oh, nothing vulgar like that, no. He saved the life of a tiger from a hunting party. One of King Edward's hunting parties in India. The king was so furious. That's why he's never had his military services properly recognised. But he doesn't care. He is a socialist and despises rank.
Ellie, how can you sit there and tell me such lies? You of all people. I thought you were a good, straightforward girl.
What do you mean? To say you don't believe me?
Of course I don't believe you. You're inventing every word of it. You take me for a fool.
Goodbye, Hermione. I see now That it sounds very improbable as I tell it, but I can't stay if you think of me that way.
Wait, you shan't go. I can't be mistaken. I know too well what liars are like. Someone really has told you all of this? You tell me everything about him. Are you in love with him?
Oh, no, I'm not so foolish. I don't fall in love with people. I'm not as silly as you think.
I see. It's just something to think about that gives a bit of interest and pleasure to life.
Just so, that's all, really.
How wonderful it makes waking up in the morning. Makes the hours go fast, doesn't it? All life is transfigured. You want nothing more than to be alone and think about him.
Hermione, you are a witch. How did you know? You're the most sympathetic woman in the world.
Darling, how I envy you. And how I pity you.
Pity me? Oh, why? This is Mr. Marcus Darnley.
What a lark! This is my husband. Steady there, Betty.
My real name, Miss Dunn, is Hector Hushabye. I leave you to judge whether that's a name any sensitive man would care to confess to. I never use it when I can possibly help it. I've been away for nearly a month, and I had no idea you were coming here, or that you knew my wife. I am, nevertheless, delighted to find you in our little house.
Oh, I don't bear it. Please, speak to Papa.
Be off, Hector!
But
Get out now!
Well, if you think it better.
It's all right, my darling, he's gone. There's no one here but me. Let yourself go and have a good cry.
Damn!
Oh, thank God for that. I thought you were going to be broken-hearted. Never mind me, damn him again.
Oh, I'm not damning him. I'm damning myself for being such a fool. How can I let myself be taken in so?
Oh, no, darling. Very few young women can resist Hector. I know I couldn't when I was your age. He really is rather splendid, isn't he?
Splendid. Splendid looking, of course, but how could you love a liar?
I don't know, but you can. Fortunately, or there wouldn't be a lot of love in the world.
But to lie like that, to be a boaster, a coward!
Oh, none of that, if you please, Pettykins. If you hint the slightest doubt of Hector's courage, he will go off and do something horribly dangerous just to prove he is not a coward.
Do you mean that he is really brave and really has had adventures and yet tells lies about things that he never did and never happened?
Yes. Darling, people don't come with their virtues and vices in sets. They've got them anyhow. They're all mixed.
Oh, there is something odd about this house, Hermione. And even about you. I don't know why I'm talking to you so calmly. I have a horrible fear that my heart is breaking. But that heartbreak isn't what I thought it must be.
It's just life educating you, my Pettykins. How do you feel about Boss Mangan now?
God, how can you remind me of him, Hermione?
Look, Hector's coming back. You don't mind now?
Oh, no, not at all. I'm quite cured.
1 second more, and she would have been dead. Dear, what an escape. Ellie, dear, Mr. Hushabye has just been telling them the most extraordinary...
Yes, I've heard it.
Not this one. I'll tell it to you after dinner. I think you'll like it. The truth is, I made it up for you, and I was so looking forward to the pleasure of telling it to you.
Says his name is Mangan, not able-bodied.
Mr. Mangan, how do you do?
Very pleased. Dunn's lost his muscle, but recovered his nerve. Men seldom do that after 3 attacks of delirium tremens.
Congratulations, Mr. Dunn.
But I'm a lifelong teetotaler.
You will find it far easier to just let Papa have his own way than try and argue with him.
Oh, but 3 attacks of delirium tremens really...
You have not yet met my husband, Hector?
Very pleased. I hope, Miss Ellie, you have not found the journey down too fatiguing.
Hector, would you please show Mr. Dunn to his room?
Certainly. This way, Mr. Dunn.
Hesai, you've not shown me my room yet.
Of course, how silly of me. Mr. Mangan, make yourself quite at home. Papa will entertain you. Papa, come and explain the house to Mr. Mangan.
You're going to marry Dunn's daughter. Don't! You're too old.
Well, that's fairly blunt, Captain.
It's true.
Oh, she doesn't think so.
She does.
Older men than I
Have made fools of themselves. That also is true.
I don't see this is any of your business.
It is everybody's business. The stars in their courses are shaken when such things happen.
I'm going to marry her all the same.
How do you know?
I intend to. I mean to. I never made up my mind to do a thing yet that I didn't see it through. And that's the sort of man I am. And there'll be a better understanding between us when you make up your mind to that, Captain.
You frequent picture palaces?
Perhaps I do. Who told you?
Talk like a man, not like a movie. You mean that you make 100,000 a year?
Don't boast. But when I meet a man that makes 100,000 a year, I take off my hat to that man, I stretch out my hand to him and call him brother.
Then you also make 100,000 a year.
No, I can't say that. 50,000 perhaps.
His half-brother only.
See here, Captain Shotover. I don't quite understand my position here. I came here at your daughter's invitation. Am I in her house or in yours?
You are beneath the dome of heaven, in the house of God. What is true within these walls is true outside them. Go out on the seas, climb the mountains, wander through the valleys. She is still too young.
But I'm very little over 50.
You're still less under 60. Boss Mangan, you will not marry the pirate's child.
The pirate's child? What are you talking about?
Penny Dunn, you will not marry her.
Who will stop me?
My daughter.
Mrs. Hushby? Do you mean to say she brought me down here to break it off?
I know nothing more than I have seen in her eyes. She will break it off. Take my advice. Marry a West Indian negress. They make excellent wives. I was married to one myself for 2 years.
Oh, well, I'm damned.
I thought so. So was I for many years. The negress redeemed me.
This is queer. I ought to leave this house.
Why?
Well, many men will be offended by your style of talking.
Nonsense. It's the other sort of talk that makes quarrels. Nobody ever quarrels with me.
Oh, excuse my intruding in this fashion, but there's no knocker on the door and the bell doesn't seem to ring.
Why should there be a knocker? Why should the bell ring? The door is open.
Precisely, so I ventured to come in.
You are welcome.
Oh,
I'll see about a room for you.
but I'm afraid you don't know who I am.
Hesine, another person has arrived and wants a room.
Strange character, Captain Shotover, sir.
Very.
Man about town,
Are you a member of the family?
No.
Oh.
well dressed, 30.
I am. A connection, at least.
How do you do? How very good of you to come.
Oh, I am very glad indeed to make your acquaintance, Society. Oh, no. Oh, you will excuse my kissing your daughter, Captain, when I tell you that...
Stuff. Everybody kisses my daughter. Kiss her as much as you like.
Thank you. Oh, well, one moment, Captain. You will remember, or perhaps you won't, as it happened many a year ago, that your youngest daughter married a numbskull.
Yes, forgive me, I should have recognized you. Your head is no longer like a walnut. Your aspect has softened. You've been boiled in bread and milk for many years, like many a married man. Poor devil.
I don't believe that you are Hastings Utterword.
I'm not.
Then what business have you to kiss me?
I thought I should like to. The fact is, I am Randall Utterword, the unworthy younger brother of Hastings. I was abroad diplomatizing when he was married.
Signy, where is the key to the wardrobe in my room? My diamonds are in my dressing bag, and
must lock it up. Randall!
How dare I? What? I'm not doing anything!
Told you I was here!
Hastings!
Oh.
You had just left when I called on you in carriages, so I followed you here. Oh, you are looking extremely well.
Don't presume to tell me so.
What's wrong with Mr. Randall, Addie?
Nothing. She has no right to come here bothering you and Papa without
Addie,
being
I
invited.
think you have not met Mr. Mangan.
Oh, do beg your pardon. You fluster me so, Randall. I make such a perfect fool of myself.
My sister, Lady Utterword, my younger sister.
Pleased to meet you, Lady Utterword.
Who's that gentleman in the garden walking with Miss Dunn?
I don't know. She quarrelled mortally with my husband only 5 minutes ago. I didn't know anybody else had come. No, that's Hector. They've made it up.
That handsome man is your husband.
Why shouldn't my husband be a handsome man? Hector! This is Addie.
Not this lady.
Why not?
But I thought... I beg your pardon, Lady Utterword. I am extremely glad to welcome you at last under our roof.
She wants to be kissed, Hector.
Oh, Sally.
Call her Addie and kiss her like a good brother-in-law, and have done with it.
Behave yourself, Hesione. Lady Utterword is entitled not only to hospitality, but to civilization.
Oh, thank you.
Your father has washed himself.
He often does, Captain Shotover.
Mr. Dunn! This is Lady Utterword. Oh no, you have met Miss Dunn.
I have met Miss Dunn. Also, she is my daughter.
Of course, Mr. Utterword, my sister's
Her brother-in-law, Mr. Dunn, how do you do?
and this is my husband.
Yes, dear, we've met. Don't introduce us anymore.
I know, I'm so sorry. It's like making people show their tickets.
And what does it tell us, after all? The great question is not who we are, but what we are.
Ah, what are you?
What am I?
A thief.
A pirate.
A murderer.
I assure you, you are mistaken.
An adventurous life, but what does it end in? Respectability. A ladylike daughter. The language and appearance of a city missionary. Let it be a warning to you all.
I hope nobody here believes that I'm a thief, a pirate, or a murderer. Oh, Mrs. Hushby, do excuse me, I must go and explain.
It's no use. You really better come. Perhaps we should all go and look for some tea.
Oh, thank you. I shan't take any tea this afternoon, but if you will show me the garden.
Well, there's nothing much to see in the garden apart from Papa's observatory and a gravel pit, with a cave where he keeps his dynamite and things like that. However, much pleasanter out of doors, so do come along.
That's something new. What's the dynamite for?
To blow up the human race if it goes too far.
The captain's tea is delicious, Mr. Utterword.
You've had some of my father's tea. You got round it before you were 5 minutes in the house.
I did.
Oh, you little devil.
Won't you come, Miss Lily?
Oh, I'm too tired. I think I'll take a book up to my room and rest a little. Do you like stories of adventure, Lady Utterword?
Of course, dear.
Then I shall leave you to Mr. Hushby.
That girl is mad about stories of adventure. The lies I have to tell.
What did you mean when you saw me and said you thought and then you stopped? What did you mean?
May I tell you?
Of course.
It will not sound very civil. I was on the point of saying, I thought you were a plain woman.
Oh, for shame, Hector. What right had you to notice whether I am plain or not?
Listen to me, Brianna. Until today I had seen only photographs of you, and no photograph can give the strange fascination of the two daughters of that supernatural old man. There is some damnable quality in them that destroys men's moral sense and carries them beyond honour and dishonour. You know that, don't you?
Perhaps I do, Hector. But let me warn you that I am a rigidly conventional woman. You may think because I'm a shot over a bohemian, because we are all so horribly bohemian, but I'm not. I hate and loathe bohemianism. No child ever brought up in a strict Puritan household ever suffered from Puritanism as I suffered from our bohemianism.
You are no bohemian, yet you are no Puritan either. Your attraction is alive and powerful. What sort of a woman do you count yourself?
I am a woman of the world, Hector, and I can assure you that if you only take the trouble to always do the perfectly correct thing and to say the perfectly correct thing, then you can do just what you like.
I see. You are neither a bohemian woman nor a Puritan woman. You are a dangerous woman.
On the contrary, I am a safe woman.
You are a cursedly attractive woman. Mind, I am not making love to you. I do not like being attracted. But you had better know how I feel if you're going to stay here.
You are an exceedingly clever lady killer, Hector, and terribly handsome. I am quite a good player myself at that game. Is it quite understood that we are only playing?
Quite. I am deliberately playing the fool out of sheer worthlessness.
In that case, you are my brother-in-law, and Hassan has asked you to kiss me. Oh! Brother-in-law, that was a little more than play.
In effect, you got your claws deeper into me than I intended.
Don't let me disturb you. I just came to get a hat to put on Daddy's. The sun's setting. He will catch his death of cold.
Your husband is quite charming, darling. He has actually condescended to kiss me at last. I shall go into the garden. It is cooler now.
Take care, my dear heart. I don't believe any man alive can kiss Aggie and not fall in love with her.
Fool! Goat! Your sister is an extremely enterprising old girl. Where is Miss Dunn?
She's gone up to her room for a nap. Aggie will not let you talk to Ellie. She's marked you for her own.
She has that damnable family fascination. I began making love to her automatically. I mean, what am I to do? I can't fall in love, but I can't hurt a woman's feelings by telling her so when she falls in love with me. And as women are always falling in love with my moustache, I get landed in all sorts of tedious and terrifying flirtations in which I'm not a bit nervous.
Oh, neither is Addie. She's never been in love in her life, although she's always trying to fall head over ears. She's even worse than you. You had one real go, at least, with me.
That was a confounded madness. I can't believe that such an amazing experience is common. It's left its mark on me. I believe that's why I've never been able to repeat it.
We were frightfully in love, Hector. It was such an enchanting dream. I've never been able to begrudge it to you or anybody else since. I keep inviting pretty young women to the house in the hope of giving you another go. But it's never come off.
Not sure that I want it to come off. It was damned dangerous. You fascinated me, but I loved you, so it was hell. This sister of yours fascinates me, but I hate her, so it's hell. I shall kill her if she persists.
Nothing will kill Addie. She's strong as a horse. Now, I am off to fascinate somebody.
Not the Foreign Office toff Randall.
Goodness gracious, why should I fascinate him?
Well, I presume you don't mean the bloated capitalist Mangan.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think he'd better be fascinated by me rather than Ellie. Thaddeus, what have you got there?
Dynamite.
You've been to the gravel pit. Don't drop it about the house. There's a dear.
Listen, O sage. How long dare you concentrate on a feeling without risking having it fixed in your consciousness all the rest of your life?
90 minutes? An hour and a half?
Do you love me?
No, that sort of strength is no good. You'll never be as strong as a gorilla.
What's the dynamite for?
To kill fellows like Mangan? Are we to be kept forever in the mud by these hogs? Told the universe is nothing but a machine for greasing their bristles and filling their snouts.
Or Mangan's bristles worse than Randall's love locks?
You must weigh the powers of life and death over them both. I refuse to die until I have invented the means.
Who are we that we should judge them?
Who are they that they should judge us? Yet they do, unhesitatingly. They believe in themselves. When we believe in ourselves, we shall kill them. At present, they have the power to kill us.
No, they're too stupid to use their power.
Do not deceive yourself. They do kill us. We kill the better half of ourselves every day to propitiate them. When we are tempted to seek their destruction, they bring forth demons to delude us, disguised as pretty daughters and singers and poets and the like, for whose sake we spare them.
May not Hesione be such a demon brought forth by you, lest I should kill you?
That is possible. She has used you up and left you nothing but dreams, as some women do.
Vampire women, demon women.
Men think the world well lost for them and lose it accordingly.
Daddiest, you and Hector must come and help me entertain these people. What are you shouting about?
He is madder than usual.
I think we all are.
I must change.
Wait! Come back, the both of you. Money is running short.
Where is all the money you had for that patent lifeboat I invented?
£500? I've made that last since Easter. What about that harpoon cannon of yours?
No, I'm aging fast. My mind does not dwell on destruction as it did when I was a boy. Why doesn't your husband invent something? He does nothing but tell lies to women.
Well, that is a form of invention, is it not? However, you are right. I ought to support my wife.
Indeed, you will do nothing of the sort. I'd never see you from breakfast till lunch. I want my husband.
I might as well be your lapdog.
Could you prefer to be my breadwinner like other poor husbands?
No, by thunder. Oh, what a damn creature a husband is, anyhow.
Why can't you invent something that would blow up half of Europe at just one bang?
You are your father's daughter.
What a house. What a...
What a father!
What a husband!
Is there no thunder in heaven?
Is there no beauty, no bravery on earth?
I builded a house for my daughters and opened the doors thereof, that men might come for their choosing, and their betters spring from their love. But one of them married a numbskull.
The other a liar wed.
And now she must lie beside him even as she has made her bed.
Oh, I think I hear the cat on the tiles.
That's right. No, darling, Robbie coming soon.
Shall I turn up the lights for you?
No. Give me deep
Sonny!
darkness. Money is not made in the light.
What a dinner! I don't call it a dinner, I call it a meal.
I'm accustomed to meals, Mr. Mangan, and very lucky to get them. Besides, the captain cooks some macaroni for me.
Oh, too rich. I can't eat such things. I suppose it's because I have to work so much with my brain. That's the worst of being a man of business. You're always thinking. By the way, and now that we are alone, may I take the opportunity of coming to a little understanding with you?
Certainly, I should like to.
Oh, should you? Oh, that surprises me. For I thought I noticed this afternoon that you avoided me all you could. Not for the first time either.
I was very tired and upset. I wasn't used to the ways of this extraordinary house. Please forgive me.
Oh, it doesn't matter, I don't mind. But Captain Shotover has been talking to me about you. You and me, you know.
What did he say?
Well, he noticed the difference between our ages.
He notices everything.
You don't mind, then?
Of course, I know quite well that our engagement isn't...
You call it an engagement?
Well, isn't it?
Oh, yes, no doubt it is, if you hold to it. This is the first time you've used the word, and I didn't quite know where we stood, that's all. You were saying?
Was I? I forget. Tell me, do you like this part of the country? I overheard you ask Mr. Hushabye at dinner whether there were any nice places to let down here.
Yeah, I like the place. The air suits me. I shouldn't be surprised if I settled down here.
Nothing would please me better. The air suits me too, and I want to be near Hector. Sire me.
The air may suit us, but the question is, should we suit one another? Have you thought about that?
We must be sensible, mustn't we, Mr. Mangan? It's no use pretending we are Romeo and Juliet, but we can get on very well together if we choose to make the best of it. Your kindness of heart will make it easy for me.
My kindness of heart? I ruined your father, didn't I?
Not intentionally.
Oh, yes, I did. I ruined him on purpose.
On purpose.
I ruined him as a matter of business.
I don't understand how that can be. Are you trying to make me feel I need not be grateful to you so I may choose freely?
No, I mean what I say.
But how could it do you any good to ruin my father? The money he lost was yours.
Was mine? It is mine, Miss Ellie, and all the money the other fellas lost too. I just smoked 'em out like a hive of bees. Ah, what do you say to that? A bit of a shock, eh?
It would have been this morning. Now, you can't think of how little it matters. But it's quite interesting, only you must explain it to me. I don't understand it.
Of course you don't understand. What do you know about business? Your father's business was a new business, and I don't start new businesses. I let other fellows start them. I took your father's measure. I saw that he had a sound idea, but that he was a child in business. And that's where the real businessman comes in. I knew that the best way to ruin a man who doesn't know how to handle money is to give him some. I explained my idea to some friends in the city, and they found the money, for I take no risks. Your father and the friends that ventured their money with him were no more to me than a heap of squeezed lemons. You've been wasting your gratitude. My kind heart is all rot. I sometimes look at your father and think I must tell him the truth or burst. What stops me is I know he wouldn't believe me. He'd think it was my modesty as you did just now. He'd think anything rather than the truth, which is that he's a blamed fool and I am a man that knows how to take care of himself. Now what do you think of me, Miss Ellie?
Oh, how strange that my mother, who knew nothing at all about business, should have been quite right about you. She always said to us children, not before Papa, of course, that you were just that sort of man.
Oh, did she? Well, she'd let you marry me all the same.
Oh, you see, Mr. Mangan, my mother married a very good man. For whatever you may think of my father as a man of business, he is the soul of goodness. And she's not at all keen on my doing the same.
Anyhow, you don't want to marry me now, do you?
Oh, I think so. Why not?
Why not?
Well, I don't see how we shouldn't get on very well together.
Well, but look here, you know.
Well,
I thought you were rather particular about people's characters.
if we women were particular about men's characters, Mr. Mangan, we should never get married at all.
But child, why are you talking a bit we women? What next? You're not in earnest.
Yes, I am, aren't you?
Oh, you mean to hold me to it?
You mean to back out of it?
Oh, no. Not back out of it exactly.
Well?
Suppose I told you I was in love with another woman.
Suppose I told you I was in love with another man.
I'm not joking.
I told you I was.
I tell you I'm serious. You're too young to be serious, but you'll have to believe me. I want to be near your friend, Mrs. Hushabye. I'm in love with her. And now the murder's out.
I want to be near your friend, Mr. Hushabye. I'm in love with him. Now we are in one another's confidence, we could be real friends. Thank you for telling me.
Do you think I'm going to make a convenience of like this?
Come, Mr. Mangan. You made a business convenience of my father. Well, a woman's business is marriage. Why shouldn't I make a domestic convenience of you?
Because I don't choose, see? Because I'm not a silly gull like your father, that's why.
You're not good enough to clean my father's boots, Mr. Mangan. And I'm paying you a great compliment in condescending to make a convenience of you, as you call it. But of course, you are free to throw over our engagement if you like. But if you do, you will never enter Hesiane's house again. I will take care of that.
You little devil, you done me. Wait a moment, though. You're not quite as cute as you think. Suppose I go straight to Mrs. Hushabye and tell her you're in love with her husband.
She knows it.
You told her?
She told me.
Oh, this is a crazy house, or else I'm going clean off my chum. Is she making a swap with you? She to have your husband, and you to have hers?
Well, you don't want us both, do you?
Oh! My brain won't stand it! My head's going to split! Oh, help! Help me! Oh, help me to hold it! Oh, help me quick! Squeeze it! Oh, save me! Oh, thank you. That's very refreshing. Don't you hypnotize me, though. I've seen men made fools of by hypnotism.
Be quiet. I've seen men made fools of without hypnotism.
You don't dislike touching me, I hope. You never touched me before, I noticed.
Hush! You are to go to sleep. Do you hear? You are to go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Be quiet, dibbly dib, be quiet. Sleep, 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 sleep. Sleep.
Mr. Mangan's not here, Ducky. There's no one here, it's all dark.
Try the garden. Mr. Dunn and I will be in my boudoir.
Yes, Ducky. Oh, my daughter! Oh, I beg your pardon, sir. I'm sure I didn't see you in the dark. Oh, Mr. Mangan, sir. Oh, haven't hurt you plumping into your lap like that. It was you I was looking for, sir. Mrs. Hushby says, would you please... Oh, my God. Oh, I haven't hurt... Oh, sir. Oh, Miss Tessie, please come quick, don't be darling. Oh, I've killed him.
Oh, nonsense, you haven't killed him. He's only asleep, I can see him breathing.
Oh, why won't he wake?
Mangan? My dear Mangan?
Well, that's no use. Mr. Mangan, wake up. Wake. Oh, nurse, hang on.
Oh,
Drunk, do you think, pet? Has he had any of Papa's rum?
Mrs. Hushby, I really think he has been hypnotized.
now, what, sir?
One evening at home, after watching a hypnotizing performance, the children began to play at it. Ellie stroked my head, and I assure you I went dead asleep. They had to send for a professional to wake me up after I had slept for 18 hours. They had to carry me upstairs, and the children, not being very strong, let me slip, and I rolled all the way down to the bottom without waking up. It's all very well for you to laugh, Mrs. Hushby, but I could have been killed.
I couldn't help laughing if you had, Mr. Dunn. So Ellie has hypnotized him. What fun!
No. It was such a terrible experience. You would never dream of doing such a thing again.
Then who did? I didn't.
Well, I thought perhaps the captain had done it inadvertently. He is so fearfully magnetic. I get a vibration every time he comes near me.
The captain will get him out of it anyhow, sir. I'll back him for that. I'll go and fetch him.
Wait a minute. You say he'll be all right for 18 hours.
Well, I slept for 18 hours.
Are you none the worse for it?
I don't quite remember. They poured brandy down my throat.
Quite. Anyhow, you survived. Nurse, darling, will you go and find Miss Dunn and ask her to come here? Say I want to speak to her particularly. You'll find her with Mr. Hushby, probably.
Oh, I think not, pet. Miss Addie's with him, but I'll go and find her. Better to you.
Mr. Dunn, look. Just look. Look hard. Are you prepared to sacrifice your daughter to that thing?
You quite upset me, Mrs. Hushby, by what you've said. How anyone could imagine that I, a consecrated soldier of freedom, if I may say so, could dream of sacrificing Ellie to anybody or anything, or of forcing her inclination in any way, is a most painful blow to my what is your objection to Mangan anyway? He looks all right to me, but then I'm accustomed to him.
Have you no heart? Have you no sense? Look at the brute. Think of poor, weak, innocent Ellie in the clutches of this slave driver. A man who bends rough, violent workmen to his will to sweat for him. A man accustomed to having thousands of pounds of iron beaten into shape by sledgehammers. You are going to pawn your poor, helpless child into such a beast's claws, just so she can live in an expensive house and wear diamonds to show how rich he is.
Oh, bless you, Mrs. Hushby. What a romantic idea of business you have. Poor dear Mangan isn't a bit like that.
Poor dear Mangan, indeed.
But he doesn't know anything about machinery, never goes near the men. He couldn't manage them, he's afraid of them.
Are you
I
telling
can
me?
never get him to take the least interest in the works. He hardly knows more about them than you do.
You are trying to tell me that he's not strong enough to crush poor little Ellie.
Well, of course, it's very hard to say how any marriage will turn out, but speaking personally, I should say he doesn't stand a dog's chance against Ellie. Ellie has great strength of character. I think it's because I taught her to like Shakespeare when she was very young.
Shakespeare. Next thing is you'll tell me you could have made more money than Mangan.
Oh, no, I'm not making money. I don't care for it enough. I'm not ambitious, you see. Mangan thinks of nothing else. He's so dreadfully afraid of being poor. Worst of it is, he doesn't know what to do with his money when he gets it. I assure you, he is the most helpless of mortals. You get quite a protective feeling towards him.
Then who manages his business, pray?
Well, I do, and others like me.
Well, what did you do without him if you're all so much cleverer?
Oh, we couldn't. We should ruin the business in a year. We should improve the quality of the goods and make them too dear. We should be sentimental about the work people. Mangan keeps us in order. He will sit up all night thinking how to save sixpence.
Then creature's a fraud, even as a captain of industry.
I'm afraid all captains of industry are what you would call frauds, Mrs. Hushabye. I assure you, Mangan is not a bad fellow in his way. He means well.
He doesn't look well. After all, he's not in the first flush of youth, is he?
Mrs. Hushabye, few husbands remain in the first youth for very long, and in any case, very few men can afford to marry in their first youth.
Do you know, I think you must love Ellie very much. You become quite clever when you talk about her.
I didn't realise I was quite so stupid on other subjects.
Yes, you are.
I've learned a good deal about myself, Mrs. Hushabye, from you, and I have to say that I shall not be the happier for your plain speaking. But if you thought I needed that to make me care about Ellie's happiness, then you're mistaken. You see, I have been in love, really. The kind that comes only once. That's why Ellie is such a lovely girl.
Well, really, you are coming out. Are you sure you won't let me tempt you into a second grand passion?
Oh, quite. It wouldn't be natural. The fact is, Mrs. Hushabye, you don't strike on my box, and I certainly don't strike on yours.
And here is Ellie at last.
Gillis said he wanted me, you and Papa.
Your father is a very remarkable man. One of the few who could resist me when I made myself particularly agreeable. Now, I've got something to show you. Look.
I know. He's only asleep. We had a talk after dinner and he fell asleep in the middle of it.
You put him to sleep, Ellie.
Oh, no, Ellie, you did not.
Oh, he asked me to.
But it's dangerous. You know what happened to me?
Oh, I dare say I can wake him. If not, somebody else can.
Doesn't matter anyway, because I persuaded your father. You don't want to marry him.
But why did you do that? Hermione, I do want to marry him. I fully intend to marry him.
But, Ellie, dear, Mrs. Hushabye has made me think I've perhaps been thoughtless and selfish.
Papa, when Mrs. Hushabye takes it upon herself to tell you what I think or don't think, shut your ears tight and shut your eyes too. Hermione knows nothing about me. She hasn't the least notion of the person I am and never will. I promise I won't do anything I don't want to do and mean to do for my own sake.
You're quite sure?
Quite sure. Now, you must go and leave me to talk to Mrs. Hushabye.
Well, I should like to hear. Well, should I be on the way?
I'd like to talk to her alone.
Oh, very well, dear. I know what a nuisance parents are. I will be good and go. I hope he wakes up in the course of the night.
Hermione, what the devil do you mean by making mischief with my father about Mangan?
Don't talk to me like that, you little minx. Remember, you're in my house.
Stuff! Why don't you mind your own business? What is it to you whether I choose to marry Mangan or not?
Do you imagine you can bully me, you miserable little matrimonial adventurer?
Every woman who hasn't any money is a matrimonial adventurer. It's easy for you to talk. You don't know what it is to want money. I am poor and respectable.
Oh, respectable. How did you pick up Mangan? How did you pick up my husband? You have the audacity to say that I am
a siren! So you are. You were born to lead men by the nose. If you weren't, Marcus would have waited for me.
Oh, Ellie. Oh, my poor unhappy darling. I'm so sorry about Hector. But what can I do? I'd give him to you if I could.
Oh, I don't blame you for that.
What a brute I was to quarrel with you and call you names. Give me a kiss and say you forgive me.
Oh, don't slop and gush and be sentimental. Don't you see? Unless I can be hard as nails, I should go mad. I don't care a damn about your calling me names. What, you think a woman in my situation can feel a few hard words?
Poor little woman. Poor little situation.
I suppose you think you're being sympathetic, but you're just as cruel and stupid and selfish. You see me getting a smasher right in the face that kills a whole part of my life. The best part that I shall never have again. And you think you can help me over it by a little coaxing and kissing when I want all the strength I can get. Something iron, something stony to lean on. I don't care how cruel it is. You go all mushy and want to slobber over me. I'm not angry. I'm not unfriendly. But for God's sake, pull yourself together.
Very well. But I warn you, when I am not kissing or coaxing or laughing, I'm wondering just how long I can stay living in this cruel, damnable world. You object to the siren? Well, I'll drop the siren. You want to rest your wounded bosom against a grindstone? Here is your grindstone.
That's better. You really are the sort of woman for whom there is only one man and one chance.
I certainly don't understand how marrying that object is going to compensate you for not marrying Hector.
Perhaps you don't understand why I was a nice girl this morning and am now neither a girl nor particularly nice.
Oh, yes, I do. It's because you have made up your mind to do something despicable and wicked.
I don't think so. I must make the best of my ruined house.
Your house isn't ruined. You'll get over it.
Of course I shall get over it. What, you don't think I'm going to die of a broken heart, I hope? Or be an old maid living on a pittance? But my heart is broken all the same. What happened to me with Marcus will never happen to me ever again. In the world for me there is Marcus and a lot of other men of whom one is just the same as another. Well, if I can't have love, there's no reason why I should have poverty. If Mangan has nothing else, he has money.
Are there no young men with money?
Not within my reach. Besides, a young man would have the right to expect love from me and perhaps leave me when he found I could not give it to him. But this subject, as you call him, can expect nothing more from me than I am prepared to give him.
He will be your owner. Remember, if he buys you, he'll make the bargain pay him and not you. Remember your father.
Don't trouble on that score, Hesione. It is I who am buying him. And at a pretty good price, too, I think. Women are better at that sort of bargain than men. Anyhow, I won't have to spend my time wondering how long my gloves will last.
Ellie, you are a sordid, wicked little beast. To think I condescended to fascinate that creature to save you from him. Well, let me tell you this. You make this disgusting match. I'll make sure you never see Hector again if I can help it.
I nailed Mangan by telling him that if he did not choose to marry me, he should never see you again.
Oh!
So I am not unprepared for your playing that trump against me. Just you try. I should have made a man out of Marcus, not a household pet.
You dare!
Thinking about me if you dare.
Impudent little fiend, what if I to box your ears?
I should pull your hair.
Oh, darling, no, don't make me cry. Perhaps you were right about my making a household pet of Hector. Perhaps he should have waited for a woman like you. Would any other woman forgive you?
Why did you have to take him all for yourself? No, we couldn't help it. He couldn't help it. Neither of us could help it there. Don't say anything more. I can't bear it. Let us wake the object. You are to wake up. Do you hear? You are to wake up at once. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Wake up! Oh, you think I've been asleep, do you? You throw me into a trance so that I can't move, and then you think I was only asleep? But I've found you out anyhow. I know the sort of people I'm among now. I've heard every word you've said. You and your precious father, and you too. So, I'm an object, am I? I'm a thing, am I? I'm afraid of the men that would starve if it weren't for the wages I give them, am I? I'm nothing but a disgusting old skinflint that...
Mr. Mangan, you are bound in honour to obliterate from your mind anything you thought you heard when you were pretending to be asleep. It was not meant for you to hear.
Pretending to be asleep? Do you think if I was only pretending, I'd have sprawled there helpless and listened to such unfairness, such lies, such injustice and plotting and backbiting and slandering of me if I could have up and told you what I thought of you? I shan't forget to my dying day that when you gave me the glad eye that time in the garden, you were making a fool of me. That was a dirty, low, mean thing to do. You'd no right to let me come near you if I disgusted you. It's not my fault if I'm old and haven't got a moustache like a bronze candlestick as your husband has. There are things that no decent woman would do to a man. Like a man hitting a woman in the breast.
Oh, don't cry. I can't bear it. Have I broken your heart? I didn't mean to. I didn't know you had one. How could I?
I'm a man, ain't I?
No, not what I would call a man. You're just a boss, just that and nothing else. What business has a boss with a heart?
Then you're not sorry for what you did, nor ashamed.
I was ashamed for the first time in my life when you said that about hitting a woman in the breast. My very bones blushed red. You have had your revenge, boss. Are you satisfied?
Serve you right, you hear? Serve you right. You're just cruel. Cruel.
Cruelty would be delicious, if only one could find some kind of cruelty that didn't really hurt. What's your name? It's not really boss, is it?
If you want to know, it's Alfred.
Alfred! Ellie, he was christened after Tennyson.
I was christened after my uncle and never got a penny from him, damn him. What of it?
It comes to me. You are a real person, after all. You had a mother like anyone else. Little Alf.
Well, you have a nerve.
And you have a heart, Alfie. A whimpering little heart, but a real one. Run and make it up with Ellie. She's had time to think what to say to you. She's more than I did.
That woman has a pair of hands that go right through you.
Still in love with her, in spite of all we said about you.
Are all women like you two? Do they never think of anything about a man except what they can get out of him? You weren't even thinking that about me. You were only thinking whether your gloves would last.
I shall not have to worry about that once we're married.
Do you think I'm going to marry you after what I've heard there?
You heard nothing from me that I did not tell you before.
Perhaps you think I can't live without you.
I think you would feel very lonely without us all now after coming to know us so well.
Do I never get to have the last word?
I think that if you really wanted the last word...
There is a soul in torment here.
What is the matter? This girl doesn't want to spend her life wondering how long her gloves will last.
Don't wear any. I never do.
Is anything the matter?
This gentleman wants to know is he never to have the last word.
Well, I should let him have it, my dear. The important thing is not to have the last word, but to have your own way.
She wants both.
But she can't get them, Mr. Mangan. Providence always has the last word.
Oh, now you're going to come religion over me. I'm going.
Whither away, Boss Mangan?
To hell out of this house. Let there be enough for you and all here.
You are welcome to come here. You are free to go. The wide earth, the high seas, the spacious skies are waiting for you outside.
What about your things, Mr. Mangan? Your bag, your comb and brushes, your pyjamas?
Why should the escaping slave take his chains with him?
That's right, Ushabai. You keep the pyjamas, my lady, and much good may they do you.
Let us all go out into the night and leave everything behind.
You stay where you are, the lot of you. I want no company, especially female company.
Let him go. He is unhappy here. He is
Go,
happy
Boss Mangan, and when you have found the land where there is happiness and where there are no women, Send me its longitude and latitude and I will join you there.
Go! Oh, why don't you go? It is a heavenly night. You could sleep on the heath.
Yes, breakfast at 9, unless you prefer to breakfast with the captain at 6.
Good night, Alfred.
Alfred? Oh, Randall. Mangan's Christian name is Alfred.
They just wouldn't believe me, Al.
Is there any more of you coming in to look at me? As if I were the latest thing in the menagerie.
You are the latest thing in this menagerie.
Oh! Glory!
Oh, heck no! We were shot!
All hands aloft!
Oh, my diamonds!
Hurry up, you let me!
Oh, it's the last shot! Are you cracking now?
No, not at all. It's not my house, thank God.
But they do catch a burglar. Do you think we'll have to go to court and answer questions about our private lives and things?
You won't be believed if you tell the truth.
Oh dear, Mrs. Hushby, I might have killed him. I hope nobody thinks I intended to.
Keep your eyes on this door, Mangan. I'll watch the other one.
What has happened?
What has happened?
What has happened?
The housekeeper told me there was somebody upstairs and she gave me a pistol that Mr. Hushby had been practicing with. I thought it would frighten me, but it went off at a touch. Yes, and took the skin off of my ear. Precious near took the top off my head. Why do you have a proper revolver instead of a thing like that goes off if you so much as blow on it?
Well, that was one of my dueling pistols. I'm sorry.
He put his hands up and said it was a fair cop. So it was. Send for the police.
No, by thunder, it was not a fair cop. We were 4 to 1.
What will they do to him?
10 years, starting with solitary. 10 years off of my life. I shan't serve it. I'm too old. It'll see me out.
You should have thought of that before you stole my diamonds.
You got back, have you, lady? Can you give me back the years of my life you're about to take from me?
Oh, we can't bury a man alive for a few diamonds.
10 little shiny diamonds. 10 long black years.
Think what it is for us to be dragged through the horrors of a criminal court and have all our family affairs in the papers. If you were a native and Hastings could order a good beating and send you away, I shouldn't mind. But here in England there is no real protection for any respectable person.
I'm too old to be given a hiding, lady. Send for the police and have done with it. It's only just and right that you should.
It's neither just nor right that we should be put to a lot of inconvenience to gratify your moral enthusiasm, my friend. Better get out while you have the chance.
No. I must work my sin on for my conscience. This has come as a sort of a call to me. Let me spend the rest of my life repenting in a cell. I should have my reward above.
The very burglars can't behave naturally in this house.
My good sir, you shall have to work out your salvation at somebody else's expense. Nobody here is going to charge you.
Oh, you won't charge me, won't you?
No. Now, I'm sorry to be inhospitable, but would you kindly leave the house?
Right, I shall go to the police station and give myself up.
Don't be silly.
You will have to do as you are told.
It's compounding a felony, you know.
This is ridiculous. Are we going to be forced to prosecute this man if we don't want to?
Am I to be robbed of my salvation to spare you a day to sessions? Is that justice? Is that right? Is that fair to me? Come, let me show you how you can turn your very crimes to your account. Why not set up as a locksmith? You must know more about locks than most honest men. Oh, that's true, sir, but I couldn't set up as a locksmith for under £20, sir.
Well, you could easily steal £20. You could find it in the nearest bank.
Oh! What a thing for a gentleman to suggest to a poor criminal, scrambling out of the bottomless pit, as it were. Oh, God forgive you, sir. Oh, God forgive you. Oh.
Really, Randall?
Well, it seems to me that we shall have to take up a collection for this inopportunely contrite sinner.
£20 is ridiculous.
I should have buy a lot of tools, lady.
Nonsense! You have your burgling kit.
Give him a sovereign, Hector, and get rid of him.
There. Now, be off with you.
A quid? Oh, I won't promise nothing. You've got more on you than a pound, all of you put together, I mean.
Oh, let us prosecute him and have done with it. I have a conscience too, I hope, and I'm not at all sure that we should let him go, especially if he's going to be greedy and impertinent.
All right, lady, all right. I have no wish to be anything other than agreeable. I will wish you good night, ladies and gentlemen, and, yeah, thank you kindly.
What's this? Are there two of you?
Oh, my good Lord, what have I done? Here, don't tell me it's your house I've broken into. Captain shot over.
Is that your daughter?
Well, how do I know, Captain? You know the sort of life you and me led. Any young lady that age could be my daughter anywhere in the whole wide world, you might say.
You are not Billy Dunn. This is Billy Dunn. Why have you imposed on me?
Here, you can give yourself out to be me. You and the night on blew my head off. Shooting yourself, in a manner of speaking. My dear Captain Shotover, ever since I arrived in this house, I have done nothing but assure you I am not Billy Dunn, but Mazzini Dunn, a very different person. He don't belong to my branch, Captain. There's two sets to the family, the thinking Dunns and the drinking Dunns, each going their separate ways. I am a drinking Dunn. He's a thinking Dunn, but that don't give him the right to shoot me.
So you've turned burglar, have you?
No, Captain. I wouldn't disgrace our old sea calling by such a thing. I'm no burglar.
What did you break into the house for if you're no burglar?
Mistook the house for your own and came in through the wrong window, eh?
Well, it's no use my telling you a lie. I can take in most captains. But not Captain Shotover. Because he sold his soul to the devil in Zanzibar and could divine water, spot gold, explode a cartridge in your pocket with a glance of his eye and see the truth hidden in the heart of man. But I'm no burglar.
Are you an honest man?
I don't set myself up to be any better than my fellow creature, as you well know, Captain. But what I do is innocent and pious. I inquire about for houses where the right sort of people live, and then I works on them the same as I worked it here. I works into the house, and I slips a few spoons or diamonds in my pocket, make a noise, get caught, and take up the collection. Yeah, and you wouldn't believe how hard it is to get caught when you're actually trying to. Do you know, I've knocked over every chair in the room before now without attracting any sort of suspicion whatsoever. In the end, I've had to walk out and leave the job.
When that happens, do you put back the spoons and diamonds?
Well, I don't fly in the face of Providence, and that's what you know.
Innes, you remember this man?
I should think I do, seeing I was married from the blackguard.
Married to Innes!
It wasn't legal. I've been married to no Indian women, so it's no use coming out over me.
Take him to the forecastle.
Oh, would you be in the kitchen? Oh, they won't have it there. It's when servants be coming in thieves and all sorts. Oh.
Land thieves and water thieves are the same flesh and blood. I'll have no boasting on my daughter deck. Off with you both.
Oh, I can't think. Oh, would it be safe to have him in the house like that?
Why didn't you shoot him, sir? I know he was. I shot him himself.
Do sit down, everybody. So, Billy Dunn was Nurse's little romance. I knew there had to be somebody.
They'll have their battles over again and enjoy themselves immensely.
You're not married, Randall. You know nothing about it. Hold your tongue.
Tyrant!
Well, we've all had the most exciting evening. I think everything else after it will be an anticlimax. Perhaps we should go to bed.
But another burglar may appear.
Oh, impossible. I hope not.
Why not? There's more than one burglar in England.
What do you say, Alf?
Oh, I don't matter. I've been forgotten. The burglar put my nose out of joint. Shove me into a corner and have done with me.
Wouldn't you like a walk on the heath, Alfred? With me?
Go, Mr. Mangan. It will do you good. Hesione will soothe you.
Come, Alfred. There is a moon. It's like the night in Tristan and Isolde.
How can you have the face? What?
What an extraordinary way to behave. What on earth is the matter with the man?
His heart is breaking. That is all. It is a curious sensation. The sort of pain that goes mercifully beyond our powers of feeling. When your heart is broken, your boats are burned. Nothing matters anymore. It is the end of happiness and the beginning of peace.
How dare you!
Good heavens, what on earth is the matter?
I'm not being accustomed to ask me, how dare I?
Of course not. Anybody can see how badly you have been brought up.
I hope not, Lady Atwood, really.
I know exactly what you meant. The impudence!
What on earth do you mean?
She means that her heart will not break. She has been longing all her life for someone to break it. At last she has become afraid. She has none to break.
Oh, Papa! Please don't say that you think I have no heart.
If you had no heart, child, how could you want to have it broken?
Oh, Papa.
Lady Atwood, you are not to be trusted. You have made a scene.
Oh, Hector! Hector!
Only nerves, I assure you. Ariadne, for God's sake.
Oh, how distressing. Is there anything I could do?
No, go to bed. Good night.
Perhaps you're right.
Good night, dearest.
Oh, good night. I think I shall take a book.
Does nothing ever disturb you, Captain Shotover?
Oh, I've stood on the bridge for 18 hours in a typhoon. Life here is stormier. But I can stand it.
Do you think I ought to marry Mr. Mangan?
One rock is as good as another to be wrecked on.
I'm not in love with him.
Oh, who said you were?
You are not surprised.
Surprised at my age.
It seems to me quite fair. He wants me for one thing, I want him for another.
Money!
Yes.
One turns the cheek, the other kisses it. One provides the cash, the other spends it.
Who will have the best of the bargain, I wonder?
You? These fellows live in an office all day. You'll have to put up with him from dinner to breakfast, but you'll both be asleep most of that time. All day you'll be quit of him and you'll be shopping with his money. If that is too much for you, marry a seafaring man. You'll have to put up with him for no more than 3 weeks in the year.
That would be best of all, I suppose.
It's a dangerous thing to be married right up to the hilt like my daughter's husband. That man is at home all day like a damned soul in hell.
I never thought of that before.
If you're marrying for business, you can't be too businesslike.
Why do women always want other women's husbands?
Why do horse thieves prefer a horse that is broken in to one that is wild?
I suppose so. What a vile world it is.
Oh, it doesn't concern me. I'm almost out of it.
And I'm only just beginning.
Then look ahead.
Well, I think I'm being very prudent.
No, it's prudent to gain the whole world and lose your soul, but don't forget your soul sticks to you if you stick to it, while the world has a way of slipping through your fingers.
I'm sorry, Captain Shotover. It's no use talking to me like that. Old-fashioned people are no use to me. Old-fashioned people believe you can have a soul without money. They think the less money you have, the more soul you have. Young people, we know better nowadays. A soul is a very expensive thing to keep, much more so than a motor car.
How much does your soul eat?
Oh, a lot. It eats music and pictures and books and mountains and lakes and lovely things to wear and nice people to be with. In this country, you can't have them without lots of money, and that is why our souls are so horribly starved.
Mangan's soul lives on pig's food.
Yes, money is thrown away on him. I suppose his soul was starved when he was a child. But it will not be thrown away on me. It is just because I want to save my soul that I am marrying for money. Most women who are not fools do.
Oh, I can't think I'm too old. All I can tell you is that if you sell yourself, you deal your soul a blow, which all the books and pictures, music, scenery won't heal.
Then why did you sell yourself to the devil in Zanzibar?
What?
I know that trick of yours. If you sold yourself, why shouldn't I?
I had to deal with men so depraved that they wouldn't obey me unless I swore at them and kicked them and beat them with my fists. Foolish people took young thieves off the street, flung them into a training ship where they were taught to fear the cane instead of fearing God, and thought to make men and sailors of them by forced conscription. I tricked these thieves into thinking I had sold myself to the devil. It's I saved my soul from the kicking and swearing that was damning it. Inches. What did you expect? A saviour? Are you innocent enough to believe in that?
No, but I thought you were very wise. You might help me. I have found you out. You pretend to be busy and think of fine things to say and run in and out to surprise people by saying them, but leave before they can even answer you.
It confuses me to be answered. It discourages me. I cannot bear men and women. I have to run away. I must run away now.
You will not run away from me. I can hypnotize you. You are the only person in this house. I can say what I like to. I know you are fond of me, so sit down.
Take care. I'm in my dotage. Doesn't matter to old men what is going to happen to the world.
I would have thought nothing else mattered to old men. They can't be very interested in what is going to happen to themselves.
A man's interest in the world is only the overflow from his interest in himself. When you're a child, your vessel is not yet full. You care for nothing but your own affairs. When you grow up, your vessel overflows. You are a politician, a philosopher, an adventurer, an explorer. In old age, you are a child again. Your vessel is no longer full. I sit here working out my old ideas as a means of destroying my fellow creatures. I see my daughters and their men living foolish lives of sentiment and romance and snobbery. I see you, the younger generation, turning from their romance and sentiment and snobbery to money and comfort and hard common sense. I was 10 times happier, standing on the bridge in the typhoon, or frozen into Arctic ice for months of darkness, or they have ever been. You are looking for a rich husband. At your age, I looked for hardship, danger, horror, and death, that I might feel the life in me more intensely. I did not let the fear of death govern my life. My reward was I had my life.
But what am I to do? I'm not a sea captain. They won't let women be sea captains. Think of something else for me.
I can't think so long and continuously. I must go in and out.
What do you always run away for? To sleep?
No. To fetch a glass of rum?
Oh, is that it? How disgusting. Do you like being drunk?
I drink now to stay sober. But the dreams are conquering. Rum is not what it was. I've had 10 glasses since you came here. It might be so much water.
You shall not drink. Dream. I want you to dream. You should never be in the real world when we sit and talk together.
I feel nothing but the accursed happiness I've dreaded all my life. The happiness that comes as life goes. The happiness of yielding and dreaming. The sweetness of the fruit that is going rotten.
You dread it almost as I used to dread my dreams, and having to fight and do things. But that's all over for me. My dreams are dashed to pieces. I should like to marry a very old, very rich man. I should like to marry you. I'd much rather marry you than marry Magnan. Are you very rich?
No, living from hand to mouth. And I have a wife somewhere in Jamaica, a black one, my first wife. Unless she's dead.
What a pity. For I feel so happy with you, and I thought I should never feel happiness again.
Why?
Don't you know?
No.
Heartbreak. I fell in love with Hector and didn't know he was married.
Heartbreak. Are you one of those who are so sufficient to themselves that they're only happy when they're stripped of everything? Even hope?
I suppose so. For now I feel there is nothing I could not do, because I want nothing.
That's the only real strength. That's genius.
Oh, I beg your pardon. We did not know there was anybody here.
That means you want to tell Mr. Randall the story about the tiger. Come, Captain. I want to speak to my father, and you'd better come with me.
Nonsense, the man's upstairs asleep.
My real father is asleep in bed, and the father you gave me is in the kitchen. You knew quite well all along. Come.
That's an extraordinary girl. She has the Ancient Mariner on a string like a Pekingese dog.
Now that they have gone, shall we have a friendly chat?
You are in what is supposed to be my house. I am at your disposal.
I take it we may be quite frank. I mean about Lady Utterword.
Oh, you may. I have nothing to be frank about. I never met her till this afternoon.
What? But you are her sister's husband.
Well, if you come to that, you are her husband's brother.
Yes, but you seem to be on intimate terms with her.
So do you.
Yes, but I am on intimate terms with her. I've known her for years.
It took her years to get to the same point with you that she got to with me in 5 minutes, it seems.
Really? Ariadne is the limit.
She is, as I remarked to Hesione, an extremely enterprising woman.
You see, Hushabye, you are what women consider an attractive man.
I cultivated that appearance in the days of my vanity, and Hesione insists on my keeping it up. She makes me wear these ridiculous things because she thinks me absurd in evening dress.
But you do keep it up, old chap. I haven't an atom of jealousy in my disposition.
The question would seem to be rather whether your brother had any touch of that sort.
What? Hastings? Oh, don't worry about Hastings. He has the gift of being able to work 16 hours a day at the dullest detail. Actually enjoys it. It gets him to the top wherever he goes. So long as Ariadne sees that he's properly fed, he is only too thankful to anyone who will keep her in a good humour for him.
And as she has all the shot-over fascination, there's plenty of competition for the job, eh?
She encourages them. Her conduct is perfectly scandalous. I haven't an atom of jealousy in my composition. But she makes herself the talk of every place she goes to with her thoughtlessness. It's nothing more. She doesn't care for the men she keeps hanging about her. How is the world to know her? It's not fair on Hastings. It's not fair on me.
Do you suffer much from this jealousy?
Jealousy? No, my dear fellow, haven't I told you that I haven't...
Yes, and Lady Utterword told me she never made scenes. Well, don't waste your jealousy on my moustache. Never waste jealousy on a real man. It is the imaginary hero who supplants us all in the end. And besides, jealousy doesn't belong to your easy man-of-the-world pose, which you carry so well in all other respects.
Really, Hushabye, I think a man may be allowed to be a gentleman without being accused of posing.
It is a pose like any other. In this house, we know all the poses. Our game is to find out the man under the pose, and the man under your pose would appear to be Ellie's favourite, Othello.
Oh, some of your games are damned annoying. Let me tell you.
Yes, I have been their victim for many years. I used to writhe under them at first, but I grew accustomed to them. At last, I learned to play them.
If it's all the same to you, I'd rather you didn't play them on me. You clearly don't understand my character or my notions of good form.
Is it your notion of good form to give away Lady Utterword?
I haven't said a word against Lady Utterword. This is all conspiracy over again.
What conspiracy?
You know very well, sir. The conspiracy to make me out to be pettish, jealous, childish. Everything I'm not. Everyone knows I'm quite the opposite.
Something in the air of this house has upset you. It often does have that effect. Ariadne!
What are you calling her for? I want to speak to you. Oh.
Yes? Oh, you really are a terribly commanding person. What's the matter?
I do not know how to manage your friend Randall. No doubt you do.
Randall, are you making yourself ridiculous as usual? I can see it in your face. You really are the most pettish creature.
Oh, really, Ariadne, you know all too well I haven't an atom of pettishness in my composition. I have made myself perfectly pleasant. I've been absolutely cool and imperturbable in the face of a burglar. Imperturbability really is almost too strong a point of mine. But I insist on being treated with a certain consideration. I won't allow Hushabye to take liberties with me. I shan't stand your encouraging people as you do.
The man has a rooted delusion he's your husband.
I know. He's jealous. As if he had any right to be, and he compromises me everywhere. He makes scenes all over the place. Right, I will not allow it. I simply will not allow it. You have no right to discuss me with Hector. I will not be discussed by men.
Oh, be reasonable, Ariadne. Your fatal gift of beauty forces men to discuss you.
Oh, indeed. But what about your fatal gift of beauty?
How can I help it?
You could cut off your moustache. I can't cut off my nose. I get my whole life messed up with people falling in love with me. And then Randall says I run after men. Yes, you do. You said it just now. Why can't you think of something else than women? Napoleon was quite right when he said that women are the occupation of the idle man. Well, if there was ever an idle man on earth, his name is Randall Utterword.
Oh, Ariadne.
Yes, you are. Don't deny it. What have you ever done? What good are you? You were as much trouble in the house as a child of 3. You could live without your valet.
Oh, this is
laziness. Laziness incarnate. You're selfishness itself. You are the most uninteresting man on earth. You don't even gossip about anything, about yourself and your ailments and your grievances and the people who have offended you. Do you know what they call him, Hector?
No, please don't tell me.
Randall the Rotter. Oh, that is his name in good society.
Oh, I'll not bear this. Will you listen to me, you infernal? Oh.
My friend, the Shotover sisters have two strange powers over men. They can make them love, and they can make them cry. Thank your stars you're not married to one of them.
Pray, Hector.
Listen, Ariadne, if you attempt to start on me, I will took you. Do you hear? This game of cat and mouse with the other sex is a good game, but I can play your head off at it. Now, it is true that Napoleon said that women were the occupation of the idle man, but he added that they are the relaxation of the warrior. Well, I am the warrior, so take care.
My dear Hector, I have only done what you asked me to do.
Well, how do you make that out, pray?
You called me in to manage Randall, didn't you? You said you couldn't manage him yourself.
Well, what if I did? I did not ask you to drive the man mad.
He's not mad, that's the way to manage him. If you were a mother, you'd understand.
Mother? What are you up to now?
It's quite simple. When the children got nerves and were naughty, I smacked them just enough to give them a good cry and a healthy nervous shock. They went to sleep and they were quite good afterwards. Well, I can't smack Randall. He's too big. So when he gets nerves and is naughty, I just rag him till he cries. He'll be all right now. Look, he's half asleep already.
I am not. Oh, you're most cruel, Ariadne. Oh, but I suppose I'd better forgive you as usual. Oh.
Is the explanation satisfactory?
Dread warrior. I shall kill you one day if you go too far. I had thought you were a fool.
Everybody does, at first. Now, Rand, you will go to bed and you will be a good boy in the morning.
I shan't go to bed. It's not 10 yet.
It's long past 10. See that he goes to bed at once, Hector.
Is there any slavery on earth worse than this slavery of men to women?
I shan't speak to her tomorrow. I shan't speak to her for the rest of the week. I'll teach her such a lesson. I'll go straight to bed without bidding her good night.
You're under a spell, man. Old Shotover sold his self to the devil in Zanzibar, and the devil gave him a witch for a wife. These two demon daughters are their mystical progeny. It is true that I am tied to his side as apron string, but we are man and wife, and if I did make a complete fool of myself over her, at least we are now married. But why should you let yourself be dragged about and beaten by Ariadne as a toy donkey is dragged about and beaten by a child? What do you get from it? Are you her lover?
You must not misunderstand me in a higher sense, in a platonic sense.
Platonic sense? She makes a servant of you, and when payday comes around, she bilks you. That's what you mean.
Well, if it's all the same to me, I don't see what business it is of yours. Besides, I'm going to punish her, I said. You shall see. I know how to deal with women. Oh, I really am very sleepy. Bid good night to Mrs. Hushabye for me, will you? Like good night. Good night.
Oh, poor wretch. Oh, women, women, women. Fall, fall and crush. The night takes no interest in us. What are we to the night?
Its beauty soaks into my nerves. In the night there is peace for the old and hope for the young.
Is that remark your own?
No, only the last thing the captain said before he went to sleep.
I'm not asleep.
Randall is. Also Mr. Mazzini Dunn. Mangan too, probably.
No.
Oh, you're there. I thought Titania would have sent you to bed by now.
I think I will. He keeps telling me he has a presentiment he's going to die. I never met a man more greedy for sympathy.
But I have a presentiment, I really have. And you wouldn't listen.
I was listening to something else. There was such a splendid drumming in the sky. Did any of you hear it? Came from a distance and then faded away.
I tell you, it was a train.
Well, not on our little line. What kind of been Captain?
Heaven's threatening growl of disgust at us useless, futile creatures. I tell you, one of two things must happen. Either out of that darkness some new creation will come to supplant us as we have supplanted the animals, or the heavens will fall in thunder and destroy us.
We have not supplanted the animals, Hector. Why do you ask heaven to destroy this house, which could be made quite comfortable if Asani had any notion of how to live? Don't you know what is wrong with it?
We are wrong with it. We are useless, futile creatures and ought to be abolished.
Nonsense. I can tell you, all that this house needs to make it a healthy, sensible, natural house with good appetites and sound sleep in it is horses.
Horses? What rubbish!
Yes, horses. Why have we never been able to let this house? Because there are no proper stables. Go anywhere in England where there are natural, contented, wholesome, really nice English people. And what do you always find? That the stables are the very centre of the household. I never lived until I learned to ride. There are only two good classes in good society in England, the equestrian classes and the neurotic classes.
There's some truth in that. My ship made a man of me, and a ship is the horse of the sea.
Exactly how Hastings explained your being a gentleman.
Not bad for a numbskull.
Now, why is Randall such an obvious rotter? He is well bred. He has been to a public school and a university, and he knows the best people. And why is he so unsatisfactory, so contemptible? Simply because he's too lazy and pleasure-loving to hunt and shoot. He strums the piano and sketches, runs after married women. He actually plays the flute. I mean, I never let him bring it into my house. If only he would sit... Randall, you have not gone to bed. Have you been listening? Ah, how vulgar. Go to bed at once. How dare you? How could anyone care for such a creature?
Addie, do you think that Ellie should marry poor Alfred just for his money?
What's this, Mrs. Hushabye? Have our affairs been discussed before everybody?
Well, how much money have you, Mr. Mangan?
Really? No, I'm not going to stand for this.
Nonsense. It all turns on your income, doesn't it?
Well, if it comes to that, how much money has she?
None.
Ah, you are answered, Mr. Mangan. And now you have made Miss Dunn throw her cards on the table. You cannot refuse to show your own.
Come on now, out with it. How much?
Well, if you want to know, I have no money and never had any.
Oh, Alfred, you mustn't tell naughty stories.
I'm not telling you stories, I'm telling you the raw truth.
What do you live on, Mr. Mangan?
Travelling expenses and a trifle of commission.
But you have factories and capital and things.
People think I have. People think I'm an industrial Napoleon. That's why Miss Ellie wants to marry me. But I tell you, I have nothing.
Do you mean to say that the factories are like Marcus's tigers, that they don't exist?
Oh, they exist all right enough, but they're not mine. They belong to syndicates and shareholders and all sorts of lazy, good-for-nothing capitalists. I get money from such people to start the factories. I get people like Miss Dunn's father to work them, and I keep a tight hand so as to make them pay. Of course, course, I make them keep me going pretty well. But it's a dog's life, and I don't own anything.
Alfred, you are making a poor mouth of it to get out of marrying Ellie.
This is the first time that I'm telling the truth about my money for the first time. And it's the first time my word has ever been doubted.
How sad. Why don't you go for politics, Mr. Mangan?
Going for politics? Where have you been living? I am in politics.
Oh, I'm sure I beg your pardon. I never heard of you.
Let me tell you, Lady Utterword, that the Prime Minister of this country asked me to join the government without even going through the nonsense of an election, as the dictator of a great public department.
As a Conservative or a Liberal?
Oh, no such nonsense. As a practical businessman.
Alfred,
All
Alfred.
laughing at.
You who have to get my father to do everything for you.
You who are afraid of your own workmen.
You with whom 3 women have been playing cat and mouse all the evening.
You must have given an immense sum to the party funds, Mr. Mangan.
Not a penny out of my own pocket. The syndicate found the money. They knew how useful I'd be to them in the government.
This is most interesting and unexpected, Mr. Mangan. What have your administrative achievements been so far?
Achievements? Well, I don't know what you call achievements, but I've jolly well put a stop to the games of all the other fellows in the other departments. Every man of them thought he was going to save the country all by himself and do me out of the credit and out of my chance of a title. Well, I took good care that if they wouldn't let me do it, they shouldn't do it themselves either. I may not know nothing about my own machinery, but I know how to stick a ramrod into the other fellas. And now they all look the biggest fools going.
And in heaven's name, what do you look like?
I look like the fella that was too clever for all the others, don't I? If that isn't a triumph of practical business, what is?
Do you,
Oh, is this England or is it a madhouse?
do you expect to save the country, Mr. Mangan?
Well, who else will? Will your Mr. Randall save it?
Randall the Rotter?
Will your brother-in-law save it with his moustache and his fine talk?
Yes, they will let me.
Will they let you?
No, they prefer you.
Ah, very well then. As you're in a world where I'm appreciated and you're not, you'd best be civil to me, haven't you? Well, who else is there but me?
There is Hastings. Get rid of your ridiculous sham democracy. Give Hastings the necessary power and a good supply of bamboo to bring the British native to his senses. He will save the country with the greatest ease.
It had better be lost. Any fool can govern with a stick in his hand. I can govern that way. It's not God's way. The man is a numbskull.
The man is like all of you rolled into one. What do you say, Miss Dunn?
I think my father would do very well if people did not despise him and put upon him, because he is so good.
I see Mazzini Dunn going into Parliament or pushing his way into the government. We've not come to that yet, thank God. What do you say, Mrs. Hushabye?
Oh, I say it matters very little which of you governs the country, as long as we govern you.
We? And who is this we, pray?
The devil's granddaughters, my darling. The lovely women.
Oh, fall, I say, and save us from the lures of Satan.
There seems to be nothing real in this world except my father and Shakespeare. Marcus's tigers are false. Mr. Mangan's millions are false. There's nothing really true and honest about Hermione, except her beautiful black hair. And Lady Atterwards is too pretty to be real.
A good deal of my hair is quite genuine. The Duchess of Ditherry offered me 50 guineas for this under the impression it was a transformation, but it's quite natural apart from the colour.
Look here, I'm going to take off all my clothes. Shame, what shame is there in this house? Let's all start naked. We've stripped ourselves morally naked. Well, let us strip ourselves physically naked as well and see how we like it. I tell you, I can't bear this. I just can't bear it. I was brought up to be respectable. I don't mind if the women dye their hair or the men are drinking. It's human nature. But it's not human nature to tell everybody about it. Every time one of you opens your mouth, I go like this, afraid of what will come next. How can we have any self-respect if we don't keep it up that we're better than we really are?
Oh, Mr. Mangan, I quite sympathise with you. I have been through it all, and I know by experience that men and women are delicate plants that must be cultivated under glass, and our family habit of throwing stones in all directions and letting the air in is not only unbearably rude, but also positively dangerous. Still, there is no point in catching physical colds as well as moral ones, so please keep your clothes on.
I'll do as I like, not what you tell me. Am I a child or a grown man? I won't stand this mothering tyranny. I'll go back to the city where I'm respected and made much of.
Goodbye, Alf. Think of us sometimes in the city. Think of Ellie's youth.
Think of Hesiod's eyes and hair.
Think of this garden in which you're not a dog barking to keep the truth out.
Think of Lady Utterword's beauty, her good sense, her style.
Flatterer. Think, Mr. Mangan, whether you can really do any better for yourself elsewhere. I mean, that is the essential point, isn't it?
All right. I'm done. Have it your own way. I'll stay. I'll marry her. I'll do anything for a quiet life. Are you satisfied now?
No. I never really intended to make you marry me, Mr. Mangan. Never in the depths of my soul. I only wanted to feel my strength, to know that you could not escape if I chose to take you.
What? Do you mean to say you're going to throw me over after my acting so handsome?
Shouldn't be too hasty, Miss Dunn. You can throw Mr. Mangan over at any point up until the last moment. Very few men in his position go bankrupt, and you can live quite comfortably on his reputation for immense wealth.
I cannot commit bigamy.
Bigamy?
Do you
Do you mean to say you're married already?
Only half an hour ago, I became Captain Shotover's white wife.
Oh, Ellie nonsense. Where?
In heaven, where all true marriages are made.
Really, Miss Dunn? Really, Papa?
He told me I was too old, and him a mummy.
Their altar, the grassy earth outspread. Their priest, the muttering wind.
Yes, I, Ellie Dunn, give my broken heart and my strong, sound soul to its natural captain, my second father and spiritual husband.
Oh, that's clever. That's so clever, Pettykins. Alfred, you never could have lived up to Ellie. I think you'll have to make do with a little share of me.
It's not kind.
You're well out of it, Mr. Mangan. Miss Dunn is the most conceited young woman I've met since I came back to England.
Oh, no, Ellie isn't conceited, are you, Pettykins?
I know my strength now, Hesiod.
Brazen, I call you brazen.
Alfred, don't be rude. Don't you feel how lovely this marriage night is that's made in heaven? Open your eyes. Aren't you happy? You and Hector.
Oh, I tell you, happiness is no good. I'm 10 times happier now I'm half dead than ever I was in my youth. But there's no blessing on my happiness.
Life with a blessing. That is what I want. Now I know the real reason why I couldn't marry you, Mr. Mangan. There would be no blessing on our marriage. There is a blessing on my broken heart. There is a blessing on your beauty, Hesiod. There's a blessing on your father's spirit. Even on the lies of Marcus, there is a blessing. But on Mr. Mangan's money, there is none.
I don't understand a word of that.
Neither do I. But I know it means something.
Oh, don't say there was any difficulty about the blessing. I was ready to get a bishop to marry us.
Isn't he a fool, Pettigrew?
Oh, do not scorn the man. We are all fools. Ah!
And here comes the only man ever to resist me. What's the matter, Mr. Dunn? Is our house on fire?
No, nothing's the matter. It's simply impossible to sleep with such an interesting conversation going on right under my window. And on such a beautiful night. What's it all been about?
Wonderful things, soldier of freedom.
For instance, Mangan, as a practical businessman, has tried to undress himself and has failed ignominiously. Whereas you, as an idealist, have succeeded brilliantly.
No, I don't mind my being like this, Mrs. Hutchinson.
On the contrary, I can wish you always like that.
Your daughter's marriage is off, Mr. Dunn. It seems that Mr. Mangan, whom we all suppose to be a man of property, owns absolutely nothing.
Well, I knew that all along, Lady Utterword. But if people believe in him and keep giving him money, whereas they don't believe in me and don't give me any, how can I expect poor Ellie to make do with what I can provide?
No, don't you run away with the idea that I don't have any.
Oh, don't try to explain, we understand. You have a couple of £1,000 in exchequer bills, 50,000 shares worth 10p a dozen, and half a dozen tablets of cyanide of potassium to poison yourself with when you're found out.
Oh,
That's the reality of your business.
No, he's quite honest. And the businesses are legal, perfectly legal.
Not even a great swindler.
Oh, so you think that I've been too much for some honest men for all that.
There is no pleasing you, Mr. Mangan. You are determined to be neither rich nor poor, honest nor dishonest.
There you go again. Ever since I came into this silly house, I've been made to look like a fool. Although I'm as good a man in this house as in the city.
Yes, this silly house, this strangely happy house, this agonizing house, this house without foundations. I shall call it Heartbreak House.
Stop then, or I shall howl like an animal. There, you set out for it.
I like him best when he is howling.
Silence! Let the heart break in silence.
Do you accept this name for your house?
Oh, it's not my house, it's only my kennel.
Oh, we have been too long here. We do not live in this house. We haunt it.
It's dreadful to think how you've been here all these years while I have gone around the world. It's silly of me to come back. I felt sentimental about the Pa and Hersione and the old place. I felt them calling to me.
Oh, but what a very genuine and humane and natural sentiment, Lady Utterword.
So I thought, Mr. Dunn. But I found I was not remembered and not wanted.
You left because you did not want us. Right at you to come back and probe old wounds.
You were a complete stranger when you first arrived, Daddy. But now I feel as if you've never been away.
Thank you, Hersione. Well, this may be Heartbreak House to you, Miss Dunn, and to this gentleman from the city who has so little self-control. But to me, it's just a very unregulated and rather untidy villa with no stables.
Inhabited by heartbroken imbeciles.
Oh, no, if you'll forgive me. Oh, very charming people. Favourable specimen of all that is best of our English society. Very advanced, unconventional, frank, humane, unprejudiced, democratic, free-thinking, all that is most delightful to thoughtful people.
You do us proud, Mazzini.
Oh, I do not flatter. Where else could I feel perfectly at home in my pyjamas? Sometimes I dream that I'm in very distinguished company and I have nothing on but my pyjamas. Sometimes I haven't even pyjamas and I'm overwhelmed with confusion. But here, I'm quite at ease. It seems perfectly natural.
An infallible sign that you are not now in truly distinguished society, Mr. Dunn. If you were in my house, you would be embarrassed.
Your house is not Heartbreak House, though, is it, Lady Utterword?
And yet she breaks hearts. That poor devil upstairs with his flute howls when she breaks his heart, just as Mangan howls when my wife breaks his.
That is because Randall has nothing to do but have his heart broken. Makes a change from having his head shampooed. Catch anyone breaking Hastings' heart.
The numbskull wins after all.
I should go back to my numbskull with the greatest satisfaction when I am tired of you all, clever as you are.
Well, I never set up to be clever.
Well, you may not be clever, Mr. Henry, but you are successful.
Well, I don't want to be regarded just as a successful businessman. I have an imagination like anybody else. I have a presenter.
Oh, for goodness sake, Alfred. Here I am, making love to you, and all you can think about is your stupid presentment. You are boring to me. Come, talk poetry to me under the stars.
Yes, it's all very well to make fun of me, but if only you knew.
Oh, we stand here talking and leave everything to Mangan and to chance and to the devil. Think of the powers of destruction they wield.
Yes, I know. I used to think about that a lot when I was younger.
Think? Well, what was the point of thinking about it? Why didn't you do something?
Oh, but I did. I joined societies. I made speeches, I wrote pamphlets. It was all I could do. Every year I expected a revolution or some frightful smash-up. It seemed impossible that we could blunder and muddle along any longer. But nothing happened. Nothing ever does happen. It's amazing how well we get along, all things considered.
Perhaps someone cleverer than you, or Mr. Mangan, was at work all the time.
Yeah, perhaps so. Although I was brought up not to believe in anything, I think there is something to be said for the notion of an overruling providence after all.
Providence? I made Hastings.
Oh, beg your pardon.
Every drunken skipper trusts in providence. But one of the worries of providence with drunken skippers is to run them on the rocks.
What was that?
Something happening. Breakers ahead.
The police have tabled! The rector is nothing but a heap of bricks, they say. Unless we give the rector a bed, and I've nowhere to lay his head this night.
The church is breaking up. I told him it would happen if he did not pursue the God's open sea.
You're all to go down to the cellars.
Go there yourself, you and all the crew. Batten down the hatches.
I might be sorry the cow when I married on the road first.
Here, push the way to the gravel pit. The boot boy thinks there's a cave in the gravel pit. These fellas ain't no use. There's a gravel pit, catching.
We'll break off past the gravel pit. There's quite something to fall in and break the jersey.
That was nearer.
The next one will get us. It is the hand of God.
Oh, Lordy God.
Who's that running away? You heard it now. The explosion in the sky. It's like an orchestra. It's like Beethoven.
By thunder, Hesione, it is Beethoven.
The light is getting brighter.
Oh, Ariadne! Oh, my soul, my precious, go down to the cellars. I beg you, I implore you, go down to the cellars.
The governor's wife in the cellar with the servants, really, Randall.
Oh, but what should I do if you are killed?
Well, you would probably be killed too.
Oh,
Now, play your flute to show that you are not afraid and be good. Play Keep the Home Fires Burning.
I stay up there, keep our household fires burning.
oh, my lips are trembling. I shan't make a sound.
I hope Mangan is safe.
He's hiding in the cave in the gravel pit.
My dynamite drew him there. It is the hand of God.
Oh, there is not half light enough. We should be blazing to the sky.
Set fire to the house, Margaret.
My house? No.
I thought that it would not be ready in time.
The judgment has come. Courage will not save you, but it will show that your souls are still alive.
Shh! You can hear it now. It's magnificent.
Oh, Miss Dunn, you can do no good here. We of this house are only moths flying into the candle. But you had better go down to the cellar.
I don't think so.
But Ellie, there is no shame in going to the cellar. An officer would command his men to take cover. Mr. Hushabye is behaving like an amateur. Mangan and the burglar are acting sensibly, and it is they who will survive.
Let them. I shall behave like an amateur, but why should you run any risk?
Well, think of the risk those fellows up there are
Oh,
running.
think of them! The murdering blackguards. Oh, whatever next.
Is anybody hurt?
Where did it fall? One husband gone.
30 pounds of good dynamite wasted.
Oh, poor Mangan. Oh, are you immortal that you need pity him? Our turn next.
Oh. Well, they've passed us.
The danger is over, Randall. Go to bed.
Turn in all hands. The ship is safe.
Safe.
Yes, safe. And how damnably dull the world has become again suddenly.
I was quite wrong after all. It is we who have survived. Mangan and the burglar
The two burglars.
Two practical men of business.
have gone, and the poor clergyman will have to find a new house.
But what a glorious experience. I do hope they'll come back tomorrow night.
Oh, I hope so.